really.
You got to anyway.
I'm running behind.
All right. Looks like there's a few of you guys in already. I appreciate you guys joining tonight. So tonight we're going to talk tournament fishing from kayaks. So we'll lead off. Hey, Colin, nice to have you on tonight. So we're going to lead off talking a little bit about our tournament that we fished today. We'll give you how many people were in it, where we finished out in it, and then what the first place person took, big bass, stuff like that. And then we're going to talk a little bit about, what it's like to tournament fish from my perspective after being just a few years into it, and then from her perspective being one tournament into it. So she fished a couple kind of fun tournaments last year, but hasn't fished any real tournaments until this year. So and got to experience a tough one today. A very tough one. That's how I'll lead out talking about that one. So it looks like we've got Josh, Trevor, Lance is in here.
Hi, Lance.
And then Colin. So welcome, guys. Really appreciate it. Let's see, Teresa's in here also. Yeah, Teresa said it was rough.
It was rough.
Very, very rough.
I don't think you can see it on here, luckily, because I was worried about that. Because when I got home, I had huge raccoon eyes from the wind. It wasn't sunburn because I did remember sunscreen today.
Finally.
But it was like the wind burn. My face was so red, but my eyes were just I don't know. It was horrible. Looked like a raccoon. The wind was rough.
It was rough. So we started out the day with very little winds, which I'd been watching the forecast and kind of getting prepared for it and everything the whole time. And I knew that we were going to start out with low winds. And when I say low winds, it was about 10 mile an hour. And out there where we fish, 10 mile an hour is pretty calm. You get up to 15 plus and it gets pretty crazy. So we had 15 plus mile an hour winds sustained by the end of the time that we were out, really just a few hours in. And the gusts were in the high 20s. So it got pretty hairy out there. Had some water splashing up on top of the kayak with us. And it was definitely a little wild, but it was a good time. We still got to get out. It was a long day. Just a little bit into the tournament, my rudder gave out completely. So had some issues with my rudder. For those of you that know, I've picked up a kayak this year and had some issues with it the first few times I was out. And I watched a video and it was my tensioner spring. My tensioner spring was not tight enough. So I watched a video on how to tighten the tensioner spring on my rudder. Well, apparently there was an issue with the early rudders from the Bonafide P127, and the tensioner spring just bent. It did not tighten, and then I could not get the assembly back together. So I was able to completely loosen it and get the assembly back together. So I had a raised rudder, so at least I had somewhat control, but that was about it. And like I said, a few hours into the tournament, it gave out completely, and I had no rudder the rest of the day. I would be, going with the wind and trying to turn the direction the wind was trying to turn me, and I would turn the opposite. So it was kind of wild, made for a really long day.
He was a little frustrated about it, but yeah. Jester Fun said no mutter on Saturday. It was pretty rough also. I don't know which one of you was that fish that, but is that that is, but were you fishing bluegrass on Saturday?
Yeah. So we definitely had a very, very windy, 5 days. Obviously right now here lately in this area for sure, the wind has been bad. I know Trevor down in Texas has been experiencing it also. We've had a lot of wind this March, and today was no exception. So we had some pretty good wake on the water before we were done. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of get into some of the stats. Lead out with, there were 24 people that fished this tournament. Of the 24 people that fished, 16 caught limit. 16 caught fish. There were 4 limits caught. So it was very, very tough. Teresa said she was sick and she still went out. Yeah, that's
I was worried about you.
Rough.
Especially
That's
because
rough.
we had a fishing life group Saturday morning. So we were out there fishing at a different spot. And it was kind of, I mean, there was lots of trees around and it seemed like it should have been guarded, but it wasn't. It was so windy. And I was like, man, all those people are out there. But I think Sunday was probably the worst day to be out there, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because it was pelting rain.
Sunday and
Plus
Friday were definitely pretty rough for sure. We almost fished Friday, so I don't think we would have had any better of a day.
I guess Thursday kind of snowed too.
Had we fished Friday, so I think that it was going to be kind of rough either way. Yakety Max said had a tournament this past weekend too and blanked. Wind wasn't the issue, the water was. Yeah, the water was definitely not good. We did have a good amount of rain yesterday too, and the water was very, very dark today, which this lake is never completely clear, but you always have a decent amount of visibility. And yeah, it was very, very dark today, so it was a little bit rough.
I have a plastic rudder, and I think it's messed up.
Yeah, we'll probably both end up making some upgrades to the rudders on our kayaks, but yeah, so getting into more of the details on the tournament that we fished. So for those of you that don't know, we fish grassroots bass yakking, which they short for grubby. And those tournaments, there are 5 days, and you pick one day out of the 5 days to fish it. So their tournaments are on Thursday through Monday. This time we picked Monday, which is kind of a fun thing and kind of a tough thing because you go into it knowing what everyone has, and you already put pressure on yourself.
Yeah. I thought I would like it better to fish on Monday. And that way, like, I knew, but I actually did not like it because I was like, oh, man.
Anticipation. Builds up a lot of anticipation.
And it wasn't even, like, impressive. Like, well, I don't want to say that. I don't want to diss Ruby, but, like,
the guys who caught fish
yeah,
really worked hard for it this weekend.
Yeah.
For sure.
So there wasn't like huge limits. I'll say it that way.
Yeah. And I'll get into that with the stats here in just a second. So like I said, only 4 caught a limit out of 24 people. So that's pretty tough. And I think only 2 others caught 4. So, I mean, it was a brutal weekend. Paul Claspel, I see him in the comments, and he's actually one of them that caught 4 out of 5 this weekend. So he put in a full day out there also. I know we had several friends out there fishing. It just so happens one of our friends actually won the tournament. So Jonathan Riviera goes by Rivy. He hit 87 inches and pulled home the victory. So good job, man. Congratulations. We're really happy for you. Definitely nice to see when one of your buddies ends up pulling off a win, especially when you've had a tough day. And I'll go into more details on our day as we go. So big bass was 20.5, and that was caught by Mike Shaw. So good job out there, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He did get that, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll go into more details. So last March, the big bass was 21.5 inches, and the total bag for last March's tournament was 95 inches. And that's normally about what we see, which just, again, goes to show you how tough it was fishing through this weekend. Now, I did see that Sam Jones, he was out today also, and he fished the full 8-hour tournament, got 4 fish. After lines out time, he ended up pulling in a 21.25, which would have taken big bass, had he picked that up during the tournament hours.
It's a nice looking fish.
And I think it would have put him really close to first place. It would have probably put him in second.
I would say
I think it would have put him right behind Jonathan.
I am Mike. Okay.
Yeah.
I figured you were one of them, but
yeah, so it was congrats, Mike. Good job out there, man. Really glad that you were out there and caught that 20.5. It's always a good feeling when you get a big one, especially early in the year. I cannot say I have that feeling this year. It's been a tough start to the year this year for me. So, like I said, there were 8 people that skunked today throughout this tournament, and I was one of them. So I put up 0 fish over the weekend. Man, I don't feel like I left anything on the table that I could have got. I threw everything. Guys, I threw a Texas rig for a while today, and that is not something I'm used to throwing. Through Texas rig, chatterbait. I threw lipless crankbaits. I hate a lipless crankbait. I never throw them. I threw a lipless crankbait. I threw my favorite BFS crankbait in multiple different colors. Threw a couple other crankbaits. Threw what? I threw a glide bait just to say, hey, what in the world can I throw and try to get on something? Threw multiple different jerk baits. I mean, I just threw everything I had in the boat with me and just could not put together anything at all. Now that's my day. Again, I told you it was pretty tough out there. Hey, Swervin, good to have you on here, man. Yeah, it was tough out there for me. That was my day. Now I'll let her tell you about her day. And remember, this was her first tournament ever. So first official tournament ever.
Well, I don't know how much you want me to tell about it at this particular
time. Just give the details of it. Break it down.
Okay. So I'm trying to think of how to explain all of this. It was a lot. First of all, when we got there, the fog was incredibly thick. Which not a big deal, but it was beautiful. I loved that. But my nerves kind of kicked in when we got there, which I didn't think I would have because I very much went into it knowing that it was just learning and fun for me. And I thought if I could catch a limit, it'd be pretty cool. But I didn't really expect just a whole lot. But the weather turned, like you said, it was pretty calm when we first got there. I don't know, could sit in one place without being blown around. So that's pretty calm for me. And we were going around and we weren't getting any bites at all. All our local spots, even some of Paul's spots, just kidding. But we went around. Finally, we went to. I told him, I said, I'm gonna go down here to a spot that I like. And we separated. And at that precise time, I was also throwing a chatterbait. Yep. Which this was my first time ever throwing one, but I had been watching it, and a lot of the people out there have been catching them on chatterbaits. So I put one in my tackle box just for this. I also feel really, really bad because I lost the first one, and he had to spend time. I have to learn how to tie so I don't feel bad next time because he had to stop and retie one on for me. So I feel bad. I'll learn that. But anyways, I went down there throwing my chatterbait, and I actually got one. So I was super excited. It wasn't a giant. It was 14 and a half inches long, but it was on a bait I had never used and in a spot that I picked out myself. So I was kind of happy about it, and I felt good about it. But at that particular time, the wind was it was starting to pick up, but it wasn't bad. So I was kind of hopeful. Then I was like, okay, we're going to start catching fish. And then we had absolutely nothing else.
Yeah, I really was just kind of waiting on the bite to somewhat turn on. I talked about last March's tournament. Last March, I actually had a really good day on the water. I started out with 2 really good fish and finished out a limit and ended in a decent place. So I was just kind of waiting on that time to turn around. Honestly, we were probably 3.5 hours in or so when you caught yours.
It was 10.
Yeah. So about 3.5 hours in, and we were getting close to that halfway point, and I was kind of thinking about moving lakes the way it was starting out. I'm not seeing really anything on the water that looked good, so I was kind of tempted to do that. And then she caught one on a chatterbait, and I was like, okay, the bite's about to turn on. I had been throwing a chatterbait all morning. She had been throwing one all morning up to that point. So when she hit one, I was like, okay, this is going to be it. We're going to get on one. Like she said, we had kind of split up at that point. So we were hitting multiple locations. I hit some areas that I don't fish a whole lot and was trying to get on them in another area. And man, it just didn't matter what I threw. I just wasn't getting bit. And then all of a sudden, really right after she caught that fish, I started kind of making my way towards her from the area where I was and just fishing along the way. And the wind really picked up.
It was
and
bad.
just started ripping. And while I was making my way back to her, she was kind of in a cove. And I don't know if she knew how bad the wind was at that point. She was kind of in a cove. And as I was making my way to her, water was splashing up on the kayak. And I'm like, okay, this is some pretty good wind. And that was when I was going kind of diagonal again or with the wind. So it was hitting hard enough then. So I knew it was about to get rough. And but I pushed back there to where she was. We fished a couple coves that were somewhat protected, but there was no fishing out in the open water at all. It was brutal.
It's not for us. We have no motors, no
Yeah.
anchors. We should probably look into some anchors at least.
Yeah. So we got anytime that we got on the open water, we were just going to the next area that we could get some protection from the wind. Even with an anchor today would have been terrible. There's no way an anchor would have held my kayak still. I just don't see any way that we would have not been drifting with that and having issues. I mean, you're just causing yourself, potential. Yeah, anchor wizard. I really do want to get an anchor wizard, but you're causing yourself potential issues by dropping an anchor when the wind's ripping.
The wind was really hard.
When the wind's ripping like that in a kayak.
I definitely, I had told him that I was thinking about doing, basically doing what I did this morning backwards. And I wish I kind of would have done that because I feel like I might would have caught a few more fish if I would have done that. But I was too scared to do that this morning. So I might attempt it next time. Just depend on the weather. But I also agree. Somebody said, the lake cold fronts. And it was Trevor, I think. I feel like that too because it went hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. Yeah. And I really think that those temperatures really messes with the bite. So
yeah, Paul just said the same thing. He said we had 3 good cold fronts from Thursday to Sunday. Yeah, the weather was so back and forth. I mean, and really leading up to this weekend, we didn't have any good weather. I was watching bass forecast every day, and it would be predicting one day was going to be decent, and then by the time that day got there, it would go right back down into poor fishing, So, yeah, it was destined to not be a good weekend to be out, but I'm not going to sign up for a tournament and then not put in time out there. It was tough at the end. I feel like we definitely learned some things. But I think if I could have done it all over again at the halfway point, I would have went ahead and went to another lake. But like I said, you live and learn. You get through the tournament. Even if I went to another lake, I don't think I would have came in with 87 inches. Just it was a tough bite. I mean, like I said, Sam Jones was out there today. He was fishing a different lake than what we were, and he put in a full day, and I think he hit 65 inches. So I mean, it was brutal for him too.
Yeah, it was still a good day. I had fun. I was happy with the results because I'm sorry I didn't skunk, and I had done the research and picked everything out myself and went to the spot. So I was happy with that because it gave me a little bit of confidence that sometimes I know what I'm doing.
And the chatterbait she caught it on was the Dadfish lawnmower blade. So that's pretty cool. Excited. I'm excited to go back and watch the video on it. I want to see.
It's horrible.
See how she did.
It's actually cringeworthy. I have never had so many issues. Because I've measured, I practiced all fall last year measuring fish and even some this year. And I have never had so many issues keeping the fish's mouth closed. He was just sitting there wide open the whole entire time. And I tried all the tricks that they say to do, lean your board down and flatten whatever. I don't remember, but I tried all the things and he would not shut his mouth.
So, also, if you guys haven't yet, well, number one, looks like we've got 13 on and only 4 likes. Jump on and give us a like.
Give us a like, please.
Jump over from the comments. Give us a like real fast. We definitely appreciate that. If you haven't yet, please check out Kayla's channel. Can you post the link in the comments real fast?
Maybe.
So if you could check out her channel, it's The Classy Kayaker. When I was looking earlier, she's at 46 subs. At 50, she can go live with me. So we're wanting to do some lives on the water. That would be a blast. She has a camera mount she has a phone mount for the water. You just go to your channel. Click on this. There's your link.
It's
Copy link.
if I can get 50 subs, which I can't this weekend because I have a show for my business, but next week we'll go out sometime and we'll go live, and you'll get a good laugh because
it'll be a fun time. Like I've said several times, we kind of get mouthy to each other on the water, which ends up making it fun. She's so close to hitting it, so it'll be a blast going live on there together. I'm sure that we'll probably get a little mouthier while we've got the chat sitting there backing us up, probably rooting for her the whole way.
I was going to say, most of them are on my side.
That's how it goes. So. But at least I'll have Paul on my side because Kayla bullies him, and maybe get Hunter in there.
No. Paul's actually on my side.
Maybe get Hunter in there and be on my side too.
Just kidding. That's okay. I'm going to claim he's on my side.
All right. So that's our tournament results. Congratulations to the guys that did well out there. And for the ones that didn't, good luck.
Yes.
Next tournament will be better. I promise that. Paul said no bullying.
I also learned to bring extra layers because I thought I was good. Like I put on layers. He's whatever. Thinks he's tough. But I was freezing. It was so cold.
I went out this morning and had a hoodie on before we got in the water, and I took it off before I got on the water.
I was shivering.
Hate extra layers when I'm on the water. Number one, I feel like it kind of like hampers me from making better casts. I feel like it just kind of holds me back. And then at some point, I'm going to have to pull off that extra layer, and it's so uncomfortable trying to do that while on the kayak. So yeah, I'm going to skip out on the extra layers, buy some good rain gear. Yeah, definitely, for sure. Then the other thing, if you need snacks, bring snacks.
I was starving.
It does. Like
I had snacks. I ate a bunch of snacks, but I also learned that I am a person that is dependent on breakfast, and I'll be a lot happier if I have it.
Yeah,
those are just goofy little.
So now she knows she's gonna get breakfast.
It was so cold. It was freezing.
She knows she's gonna get breakfast before we go out the next time. For me, I'm probably not gonna eat. Obviously, when we get to the warmer months, I'm going to have water on my kayak and I'm going to drink it. But I didn't even have water on the kayak today. That's not really a good thing. I know I should be drinking water, but I also, when my brain is focused on tournament fishing, I just feel like the more casts, the better. And I got to try to keep it moving, especially when it's been a tough day.
Definitely keep.
Yeah. Yes. Blood sugar issues. Definitely always have a snack. Definitely always have a snack.
Don't play with that.
Better safe than sorry on that, because the last thing you need to do is pass out on the water and have an issue.
I need to find a more efficient way to measure. Also, I'm having trouble with the pedals in there. There's no room. I tried lifting it up today. I did it, but I'm telling you guys, it was not pretty.
So if there are any shorter people that have an Old Town PDL, maybe you guys could give some
I think that's a reason.
Tips, because she has to have her seat all the way up on the pedals for her to reach the pedals and to comfortably pedal. I know that Hunter and Emma were talking about potentially adding some seat risers, and they may give her a little bit more space, but I'm not sure. So that's something that we'll have to look at. But she needs to figure out how to measure better for sure. Yeah, might have to. Yeah, and that's possible. You might have to move your seat back just to measure.
But I have a hard time moving it, so I guess I'd have to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, I did notice the new the Old Town, what is it, like Pro or whatever, PDL Pro that they just came out with. They actually have a way better seat setup, and it's easier to move it back and forth. Yeah, bud, I definitely remember you. Good to have you joining the live, man. We make it to Bridgeton this year for the covered bridge, and we'll definitely have to hit the water together.
Yes, it doesn't move easy on the water, because I tried. Well, I didn't try it. I had it on the second one to sit all the way up, so I was trying to move it forward, and I couldn't get it to move. So
yeah,
I don't know. I have a couple ideas, but I don't know. I didn't get to practice in the new kayak.
Yeah.
Besides for one fish.
So. Yeah. And that's normally before we go tournament fishing, I've normally had quite a few fish measured, and I have still not put a fish in the boat this year, which is so painful. Last year I think I caught my first fish in January, And then I caught quite a few in February, and caught my first big bass early March, and then throughout March I caught quite a few good fish. And we're on the last week of March, and I've not even put a bass in the kayak, and that is so painful. Yeah, the pedals are kind of slick on the Old Towns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's definitely a good idea, Paul. You know, when it comes time that
I would
it's
not
a little
have done
warmer
that
and
today.
you don't mind getting your feet wet, it's not bad to get up in the shallows and just measure on the kayak. I've done that before too. I just got the hang of it in the vibe and felt really good about it. So I'm kind of nervous too, especially when I have my pedals lifted. I won't have a whole lot of room either. So if my drive is dropped, it's not going to be that bad. But having them lifted, it'll definitely be a little bit tougher.
I guess I need to spend some time looking at upgrades. You know, it's all kind of new, and I don't know, trying to figure out what works. Because beforehand, I was like,
Josh replaced the pedals with just cheap bike pedals, he said.
good set of bike pedals. Huh.
Yep. So switching out the bike pedals may be something that you can look at.
It's weird. I would have never thought of that.
Yeah, I like the pedals so far on the Bonafide. The Propel drive seems to be comfortable. I haven't tried it barefoot or anything. Sometimes I will go barefoot in the kayak, but since I've been wearing those shoes, I've got to the point where I really rarely go barefoot. But they're pretty nice. Yeah, Trevor said can't go barefoot now. Yeah,
is
because
it still
I'm sure
cold
that
in
they're
Texas
a
too?
little bit tough. Where he lives in Texas, he's what? You're kind of northern Texas, aren't you, Trevor? Yeah, thanks,
is that
bud.
Mike's boy?
Yeah, yep. We definitely appreciate you watching. Definitely appreciate you watching.
Yep.
I am ready to really get to fishing. We haven't done very much of it at all. Paul says no shoes.
No shoes.
So I really
shoes.
like the shoes that I wear now.
I have water shoes, but
up until these, I really rarely wore shoes while I was in the kayak. And I was kind of nervous the first couple times I pedaled. I was feeling some rubbing on my pinky toes, and I thought, uh-oh, there may be an issue here, and I may have to switch to barefoot while pedaling. But the last 2 times out, I've had no issues, so I think my feet just got used to it pretty quick.
I'm trying to think about all the things today. It's kind of a whirlwind. It was fun. I definitely like it because I like the competitive sides of things. I don't know. I'm ready for the next one, and hoping that it's better weather.
Yeah. Tournaments definitely give you some pressure. There are times that, I mean, like a tough day, I guarantee we wouldn't have been on the water as long as we were today.
No, we wouldn't have. If it wasn't a tournament day, we would not have stayed out as long.
We would have said, let's go get dinner.
Yeah, we would have.
For sure. That's something else. So for you.
Any tips for starting a fishing channel?
The biggest tip I can give you is start it, bud.
Just start posting your videos.
Yeah.
Because that's how you learn.
Make a video and learn your editing, because editing is the hardest part. Strongly suggest CapCut for easy editing. You can edit it from your phone. I don't know if you have an action camera or anything yet, but you can record from your phone. You can edit it on your phone with CapCut. Our kids even play around with CapCut a little bit. They do some video recording. So it's really not that hard. It's the best thing to learn on. And then
it's free, which they do have a paid version now.
Yeah,
but the free version is good enough.
The free version has everything you need for starting out. And then post videos. For me, for a long time, I didn't post a lot of my videos because I really didn't feel good about the content I was putting out. I wasn't happy with it. I promise you, even after I finally started posting, if I go back and watch it, I'm not happy with it. But I've seen the growth over 2 years of posting content and seeing how I've made my videos become a little better throughout that time.
Yes.
Still have a long way to go. I'm not one of these guys that, can really edit a video and make them look, spot on, but I'm slowly getting it down, and I'm going to keep on improving. My goal is every time I make one to make it a little bit better than the last time. So hopefully you guys that have been watching for a little while notice that I've made some improvements, and having her here, My
Improved.
thumbnails are starting to get better as well, so that helps out also.
Yes.
So for you, what's the longest time that you've been on the water up until this?
Well, we had that, I don't know how long it was, but we had that one day in November where we ended up calling my grandma to pick up the kids.
But did we get out early in the morning?
I'm trying
I
to
don't think we did. So this has most likely been the longest time that she spent on the water. So what were your feelings on being out on the water that long? Did your seat get uncomfortable? Did you have any issues with that?
No, my seat was fine. I did notice that when I got out of the kayak, I was kind of like, oh yeah, I'm middle-aged now, but but it wasn't bad. It really wasn't. It didn't bother me at all. I was more cold than anything. That was what bothered me.
Yeah, Trevor says.
Yeah, also, if you do any tournaments, be careful what you post. I mean,
yeah.
Which hers was a complete accident. I'm just going to throw that out there. Complete accident. She didn't even, at first, as soon as she realized what the mistake she made, she fixed it, but she still got DQ'd because of her mistake. So
yeah,
just be cautious what you post if you're fishing tournaments.
For you guys, she forgot her PFD. She was out on the water fishing for a KBF tournament, forgot her PFD, noticed it while she was on the water that she didn't have her PFD and immediately got off the water. But you guys know the rules for KBF and the rules for most tournaments are you have to have your PFD anytime you're on the water or you get DQ'd. So it does happen. I've had a couple fish DQ'd also for other issues. So it happens. I hate when it happens, but it does. The biggest thing is to learn from it and to don't get discouraged by it.
And also another thing to make sure, which I don't think you're doing tournament fishing right now, but if you do in the future, it's just one of those things. Something else that some people we know have learned the hard way is posting your pre-tournament fishing spots, and you catch a big fish, and then those people are out there fishing it.
Yeah.
To me, I just don't get it because it's not that big of a deal. Because I'm not going to go out there and try to steal your spot. I'm just, except for Paul's. But sorry, I had to pick on him. It's in my blood. Once somebody starts picking on me, I have to. But I'm not going to look at your spot and go steal it. And I'm definitely not going to message you about stealing your spot either. So yeah. Good sportsmanship.
Yeah. It's definitely something when you make content and you post where you're fishing, it's crazy because I've had people that live in other states that see my videos where I don't tag where I'm fishing. And they immediately are like, hey, that's one of those strip pits over by Evansville, Indiana, isn't it? I'm like, yeah, it is. How in the world they recognize that? They've obviously fished out there and know it. So when you fish, you post content, people are going to notice it.
Yeah. Okay. You push yours all the way back. So it's doable. I think I'm also a little scared of tipping it over because it's newer. I've only been in it like 4 times, I think. So when the water's a little warm, it'll get a little bit braver about moving it back.
Paul said, I'll show you how to use land markers to line up on open water flats.
Well, I don't know if I should say that, but I did tell him at one point because it was the end of the day.
She was out fishing your spots, Paul.
I was trying to, but I didn't know where it was. Because you told me.
Luckily, you'd already fished.
And he had told me. He had told me that.
Sean, welcome.
He told me where it was that time we were out there. So he shared, right? So it was okay. I was like, I'm going to go try to find that spot he was telling us about and fish that because we weren't catching nothing. And I was like, I don't even know if I can stay there, but I was going to try it. But I couldn't find it. I couldn't remember what you told me. So I tried.
I don't want to give too many tips right now. Sean just got a boat and we've got a tournament going on from May. I can't even remember. I'm the one who set it up. I think I said from May or from April to June or something. Whatever a date it is. But I don't want to give too many tips because he's going to be out there catching fish and I'm going to catch bigger fish. I'm going to catch 5 bigger. I told him I can catch bigger fish in my kayak than what he can catch in a boat.
Sounds like a good word.
Using forward-facing sonar.
Oh, he went all out.
He went all out. One word, scope, he said.
I'm not going to lie.
She's already wanting it, so it's okay.
I do
Next thing you know, her kayak's going to be all loaded down with electronics, and I'm going to be loaded down with none.
I don't know. Because today I was like, I have no idea if I'm fishing in a good spot, for number one. I was like, are there fish here? Am I throwing in a spot where there are even fish? Because we were just blowing around and not able to stay in our normal spots. So I was like, it'd be kind of nice to be able to see what was down there.
Yeah, sight fishing is great when you're in water that you can see in. We don't
Yeah,
have we don't have hardly
clear
any
water
of that
around here.
around here. If I go over to New Lake, I can sight fish for 10-inch bass. I mean, it's still fun. It's still fun catching them like that. But yeah, outdoors with Eric, he says he can catch bigger fish. He caught a 28-pound flathead just 2 weeks ago? He's caught a lot of big fish lately. But yeah, he caught a great big flathead 2 weeks ago. So he's going to catch the bigger fish.
Well, I don't care what I get.
Yeah, I really want to get some side scan. Side scan would be nice for marking structure for sure.
I think that would definitely help. Because I was like, I don't know. And then I would get in a spot because it was so muddy that I thought was deeper than it was because I've been out there and it was so shallow in which I'm also in a different kayak that has stuff in there now, so I probably could get over it. But
yeah,
either way, I kept hitting things down to pull up my stuff. But
yeah, we're both very much getting used to our new kayaks. Having a pedal drive sticking down, it doesn't stick down that far, but it sticks down far enough that you can't go through some of the shallow stuff that you went through before. My kayak ran very hey, how's it going, man? Good to have you on. But yeah, so my kayak before ran very shallow. I didn't have any issues getting in some of the skinniest water. And this kayak, I've got to kick up the drive to get in it. And even some of that after I've kicked up the drive, it's still a little bit, it runs a little deeper. It's still, man, I'm really loving the kayak.
Yeah, I don't regret it.
I've been able to stand up and fish, which is huge. Now I'm not great at it yet. I think I really need to take it out without all my stuff on it, spend some time and really learn the kayak without any of my gear on there. So I'm not scared of tipping it over. Yeah, then if I flip it over, it is what it is.
I would like to do that too.
Yeah, we've got to do that for sure. Go out there, experience what the tipping point is. Today I had one spot that I was actually standing up and I got a little wobbly and I was able to maintain my balance versus the vibe. If I had done that, I would have flipped.
If we do that though, like we'll set up a camera on the outside so if he falls in, I can put the up there.
I have no problem. I have no problem at all with having having myself recorded when I do something stupid. If I'm gonna flip it over, we might as well get some funny content out of it, right?
Yep.
All right. So Charlie Sanders said, which kayak do you have? So she's in a Old Town 106 PDL, and I am in a Bonafide P127. So just upgraded this year. Yeah, Dad said he doesn't even stand up.
I've never had any problems with it in a boat. Not that I've just been in boats all the time, but I have been several times. I don't know. I feel like I stood in it the other day, but it was another very windy day, and I was just like, no. I'd also feel responsible if I lost a camera. Yeah. You have a Bonafide. Yeah, she has a Bonafide too. That's right.
I knew she had a Bonafide also. She actually did a video on hers the other day. It was a good video.
Oh, and you got a trailer today. Congrats. You're going to love that.
Nice. I hadn't seen that. So that's awesome. Having a trailer is so nice.
It's been amazing.
Yeah, for sure. It makes setup time way faster than what we had it before. So definitely enjoying having that trailer. Take the whole family out, strip down kayaks. Yeah, and that's something we definitely need to do. Go out, have everything off the kayaks, and test the limits.
Yeah, so, which, I don't know, some of you guys, I feel like Trevor's probably newer. A couple of you guys probably newer. So at one point, Chase had a viral video of our son flipping out of the kayak. And I said, I guess just to grow your channel, we'll start throwing kids out the kayak and we'll just keep posting the videos. But
yeah, Trevor, I'm not sure if you've seen that one. I know a few of you guys have, but I'm not sure if that was before you came over and started following me or not. But yeah, it was a comical video. Had a lot of hate on it.
Hi, Tom.
Yeah, he said, congrats on the first tournament fish, Kayla.
Thanks. I was super excited. I was just happy that I got something.
Yeah, I mean, it's the craziest thing. People act like the minnows with a ball head jig is like something brand new and it just came out with forward facing sonar. I've thrown ball head jigs on all kinds of small lures for years and caught big fish on them. But, you know, I just didn't have something tracking what I was doing. But I mean, they've definitely gotten way more popular since people started fishing with forward facing sonar. So yeah, you see about all the soft plastic brands have came out with their own forward facing minnow. And you know, a lot of them call them sonar minnow or forward facing minnow. You know, they
Yes.
definitely throw out something on there. Yeah, definitely ready for that first topwater blow up on the. I mean, he's down in Florida and he's still catching them on buzz baits and everything right now. So man, would love to get on some on topwater. I threw topwater a little bit today too. I didn't say that earlier, but I did throw topwater. I threw a whopper plopper and a buzz bait for a while today. Again, just trying to throw everything we could possibly throw to try to you know, trigger that bite.
I honestly didn't. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't switch just a whole lot. I did a little bit, but not. I mainly only threw. I threw a crankbait, but just for a short bit. I mainly threw the spinnerbait and the chatterbait.
Yeah, topwater hits are exciting for sure. I mean, sometimes they'll about give you a heart attack. There's nothing like having one blow up on topwater, you know, 2 feet from the kayak right as you're about to pick it up and it just blows up.
We just got some new frogs in.
Yep.
And I'm excited to learn
Tactical
them because that's
Fishing
not
Company.
something I didn't get
They
to do.
are, man, for those of you that frog fish, what's your favorite frog? So we picked up some from Tactical Fishing Company. I'll say their frogs are very soft. It's the softest frog I've had. And they say, you know, don't boil them, don't bend out the hooks. They're ready. You know, they don't make it to where you have to modify the frog to be able to catch a fish on them. Now, they actually make them for catching snakeheads. They do a lot of snakehead fishing where they're at, and they're made to take the abuse of a bite from a snakehead. So excited to catch some bass on them. Really, really excited to try those out. They're pretty cool looking frogs. They have some wild colors. So I picked up 2 wild ones, picked up a real bright blue and a bright pink one. So be throwing those at some point too.
I got some regular colors too. So
yeah, I got I think 3 whites and a couple black ones and then 1 green. So just some normal colors, but I really like throwing a white frog. Now I say that it's not like I've caught a lot of fish on frogs, but I like throwing a white frog, and white or black are definitely the top 2 colors that I go with. The Swamp Lord, I've heard a lot of good things about the Swamp Lord, and then I've heard good things about Spro. Of course, the Teckle frogs, I hear a lot of good things about them. The nice thing about them is a lot of them are made to work kind of like a whopper plopper. They've got that little extra tail on the back of there. So
I fished with the frog for like all of probably 20 minutes last year, and that was my only time ever frogging. But I'm excited to learn. I don't know. I kind of like it, but I don't know. I also think it's really cool that it looks like a little frog swimming across the water. So I just think it's fun. When he was on it last year, I was like, oh.
So you guys will see in our last video. It actually just posted an hour and a half ago now, and anytime that there's turtles, she's always like, "Oh, hi, turtle." You know, she gets excited about the different wildlife that she sees out in the water. You know, we've seen ducks.
Animals.
We've seen a lot of ducks the last couple days. Some geese. Anytime that I see her and there's some kind of wildlife, she's normally talking to them. Now, when it's the geese, she's normally saying,
"Don't
leave
hurt
me alone. I'm not in your area. I'm not bothering you. I'm just trying to fish this water right here."
Because they're very beautiful animals, but they're also very mean.
The bite here in Mississippi.
The topwater bite in November was amazing last year. It was kind of insane.
I actually did not see the white pelicans yet. Yeah.
Actually, I do talk to them because I don't even know if you caught it in that one video when we were on that small pit or not, but there was a snake.
Yeah, she had a snake swim up to her kayak.
Like,
she was freaking out. She was watching all over. She's like, "Is that it over there? Is that it over there?" I'm like, "It's not. It's not trying to climb in your kayak."
I don't like snakes.
Yeah, so we actually haven't seen the pelicans this year. Last year I seen them a bunch out there. Actually, last year, right before I caught that first 20 and a quarter, I was paddling over where all the pelicans were, and I picked up that 20 and a quarter right almost under them.
What were the black ones today?
There's some kind of a duck. I can't remember exactly what they are, but they're a diver. But
I was wondering what they were.
There's
There's
some kind of a duck. They're definitely a common one to come through here.
That's why I don't want to go fishing in Florida. I just don't. It terrifies me. I love wildlife, but I also have a very, very, very healthy respect / fear of wildlife.
Having issues with the drive on the Slayer. I hate to hear that, man. I'll say the Propel is supposed to be a really solid drive, so hopefully they swap it out and you have no more issues from there. I know that the guy said the drive that I have, he's actually already had maintenance done on it, and you do have to maintain them every once in a while, but they're supposed to be some of the most solid drives out there. Them in the old towns are definitely the tops.
He thinks, well, what did you say swim past you?
I think it was a muskrat. It actually, when I first seen it, I thought it was a beaver, but I think it was too small to be a beaver. It was not colored like I normally see muskrats. It was a little bit of beaver. I don't think there'd be a baby right now. You know, I mean, there could be a young beaver from last year right now, but I don't think that, I'm sure they haven't had babies yet. And if so, it would just be too big. So I'm sure it was a muskrat, but it was colored more like a beaver. So when I first seen it swimming, I thought that's what it was. But when I got a little closer, I'm pretty positive it was a muskrat, which I had a fun experience with one of those last year. I was out fishing one of our local lakes and had a muskrat swim right up to me. And like it was coming right for the kayak. I finally had to take my paddle and I slapped the water right in front of it. And that muskrat jumped out of the water, hit my boat, and hit my lure that I had hanging in the water. And I was like, oh, if this thing hooks up, I'm going to be in a mess because I don't know how I'm going to unhook this muskrat while I'm on the kayak, you know? I was like, oh, man, this is going to be an ordeal.
You know, I think one of the most surprising things for me last year was we had realizing all the animals, and it's because y'all probably get a laugh at me, but it's okay. All the animals that swim, because like last year we were out there and I was like, what is that swimming across the water? And there was like a rabbit, and I was like, I did not know rabbits could swim. I don't know. I just never knew that. And then we also seen, I don't think he was by me that time, but there was a raccoon, I think it was a raccoon that was swimming across the water. And I was like, oh, that's neat. I don't know. I just thought it was cool because I don't know, never knew. All those people fish in Florida, and there's not very many stories about people being eaten, but I don't know. It does scare me. I'm sure at some point we will. You know, we're gaining friends down there and things like that, but just kind of, I don't know. It scares me. I don't know. So, sorry, trying to think. I think there was another comment up here. I think Lance asked about our go-to rod and reel combos. I don't think we have a go-to. Well, he doesn't. He uses a bunch.
No, I do have a go-to.
Oh, you do have a go-to. Okay. Well, I just mean you'd switch out.
Yeah, my go-to is my BFS rod. That's what I'm going to throw more than anything else. I will have a few other rods, but my BFS rod is going to be my first one that I throw at all times. The second most used rod on my boat is going to be my Chatterbait rod. I've got the Yak Rod's X Chatter, and man, that's a solid rod. I've caught fish from, you know, on 1/4 ounce chatterbaits all the way up to the 1/2 ounce chatterbaits, and I've caught a lot of fish on that rod. It's just, I mean, it's perfect. You very rarely lose a fish on a chatterbait on it. I can't remember losing a fish on a chatterbait on it, besides those that when you're pulling it up out of the water when they all of a sudden blow up and they just don't get it in their mouth good. I can't remember ever actually setting the hook into a chatterbait fish and losing one since I've had that rod.
Trying to read the comments too.
Yeah, it scares you to kayak out there. I'm sure it's wild. I know some people who have hooked gators while fishing frogs. So I'm sure that would be crazy.
I would leave the whole thing. I would just be like, see ya.
She'd be out of there so fast.
Bye. I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, yeah, I can do it. If we had somebody that knew the area, I would not just go out with me and him. I wouldn't. I would want somebody, as much as I know he would protect me as much as he could, I would want somebody that knew the area. And even then, I don't know if I could get myself out on there. I would be terrified.
So I'm friends with Christopher Blanco, and he's on YouTube also. He's on his channel's Urban Fishing TV, and he's invited me down, and I really plan to come down there sometime and fish with him. We've talked about it several times, getting together and fishing, and we're going to at some point, but I really want to come down there and fish. So if we go out with him, he's got a couple bodies of water that he said he doesn't really have any gator issues on. And I think I could get her to go out there because we would be out there with him. He's familiar to the water. He'd be able to kind of steer us in a safe direction. So really want to go out there with him. He's a great guy. If you guys haven't seen his channel, check it out. For those of you that like watching fishing, yeah, Chris is the man for sure. He's awesome. Awesome.
I'm surprised.
We've been talking now for probably over a year just through Facebook and stuff. I met him over talking to him on YouTube, and I've been talking to him on Facebook for over a year, and he's a great guy. Fellow content creator, fellow that's working to grow and stuff. So great guy. I enjoy chatting with him. Check out what he puts out on YouTube.
I'm really surprised that no hooks. Yeah, Max said a seagull got his lure that dropped it and got no hooks. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's.
He would have a hard time in hooking a bird.
Yeah. I would not like hooking a bird. I've always expected that to happen because sometimes they'll swoop down and try to pick up your lure. Like you said, a seagull. I'm sure it just came down and tried to.
We have hooked a dog.
Try to get it.
Yep. Don't ever hook a dog. I don't.
Yeah, casting in the yard, letting her practice with a bait caster.
Horrible.
And had our dog run
I don't know if
up.
we've told that story or not.
Had our dog run up and attack the lure because it thought it was like some kind of wild animal
or toy.
And I seen him heading for it, and I was like, oh no, this is going to be bad. He is so fast. There was no way I was catching up to him, and luckily. It set a couple hooks, but they weren't bad. They weren't bad. So I was able to pop him right out. He was good. Put on some meds, and he was all good with no issues from there. He was mad at me for probably 2 days after that. Didn't really trust me anymore. It was really her fault. She was the one that cast.
It was my fault.
Hey, Matt. Thanks for joining, man. Really appreciate it. It's Matt from Matt's Fishing Mission. So while you're on here, I'm just going to throw it out there. I really want to come fish with you and John. It would be a blast. Love it when you guys do collabs and put out a video. I want to come fish with you and John. You guys get a chance that you'd take an Indiana boy down there and fish a river, fish a creek. I'd be up for it. I would love to make it out there. I really want to fish more rivers. That's something that is one of my big goals. Yeah, casting plugs from now on. We're gonna definitely throw casting plugs in the yard, or make sure the dogs are locked inside.
Yeah, well, the dog was inside, and it got let out, and it's just too fast and too late, and it was just
would happily fish with just you two, Matt. Nothing against you. Would love to come join you sometime. I've got a lot of invites, and I really am excited to fish with more fellow content creators. I've had a great time getting to know some people. I've already got to fish with a few, and am growing a true friendship over this. As crazy as it seems, making friends over YouTube and Facebook that could become, some lifelong friends, and it's exciting. Definitely excited to fish with more people that have the same passion that I have.
I guess I don't know his channel. I'll have to go look at it.
Yeah.
He watches a lot more YouTube than I do. I'll follow you on social media and comment on that stuff, but I don't. I watch a lot about how to fish certain lures to try to learn and expand that, but I don't watch a whole lot of videos. But I'll be your biggest fan on social media, commenting and liking. Although I thought I did better than I did, and then they ran that one contest, and I was never in the lead points. And I was like, well, I thought I was a better supporter than I was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so funny.
funny.
I wish I would have got a chance to actually talk to you, Chris. That would have been cool.
You know, Trevor, I think you're doing a really good job because you haven't been doing it long at all.
Yeah. No, Trevor, you do great. Earlier, Trevor said that he does no edits on his talking videos. I mostly run the same. I will sometimes make a couple edits, but most of the time on my talking videos, I do the same. But at first, it was far from no edits. I would do a ton of edits. So Bass U is a great source.
You have to join that though, don't you?
Yeah, it's a subscription.
I'm a very visual person, so like he can tell me, but I like to go watch videos of them fishing it because so I can see it.
Now I think Bass U may have a YouTube channel that is free.
Oh, maybe so.
So you might be able to check that out.
The fishing community is amazing.
Yeah, we're blessed. We've made some great friends.
Don't worry about your speech.
You know, all right now here. I mean, we've been talking on Instagram for a while now. I mean, so thankful for these little connections that I've made because I feel like they help me do better at creating content. You know, I see things that they're doing that I'm like, oh yeah, that's something that I need to work on myself. You know, I need to work more on making more posts on Instagram, Facebook, and stuff like that. Sometimes I'll go in a while and be making pretty consistent posts, and then all of a sudden I get to where I'm not making much at all.
It's hard to keep up with social media. It's really hard.
It is, especially with a family. I mean, I know, you know, full-time content creators, they're not working and stuff like that, but it's
a full job.
More than a full-time job.
It takes
more than a full-time job.
It took me like a whole day.
Even the ones that aren't physically working, they are doing all kinds of work to stay up with content creation. The guys that are posting, you know, multiple videos every week, plus making posts on all their social media. I know some of them use a lot of scheduling apps and stuff like that, but it's still a ton of work. Even if you take one day a week to schedule a week's worth of posts out.
It takes,
it's a lot of work.
And then you're like, oh, I feel so good because I have all these posts scheduled. And then like they're gone and you have to do it all again.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, I went through all those scheduled posts that I'd put together.
That's what I did the other day. It was great. Not for fishing, but for my thing. Don't worry about it. You can always put subtitles, just put words on it too, and then you don't have to worry about it. If you think you have knowledge to share, then in my opinion, just try. Try.
Yeah. I know there are multiple content creators that have issues with speech that put it out there, and I've not seen any negative comments on their stuff. Obviously, there are always going to be trolls. I've had trolls on my stuff. Like she talked about earlier, my video with Isaac falling in the water, I got so many hate comments on that. I'm like, I had my number one, I was right by him when he fell in the water. He was back out of the water within a minute from hitting the water. And he was safe. He had a PFD on. I always have my PFD on. He had a PFD on. And yeah, so like Tom said, the video that I did with Wendell, it is awesome. If you're looking at content creation, go back and watch that video. It's great. Wendell really breaks it down. I'm brand new to it, really, still. I'm 2 years in, but still brand new. Wendell has invested a ton of time into his that I hadn't yet. Now I'm starting to make changes because of that video.
Mm-hmm.
But go back and watch his video. He has a ton of information in there. Go back and watch it on my channel and give me credit for the watch hours. Now, if you go watch it on Wendell's channel, all for it. Wendell is a great guy.
But it wouldn't hurt.
I'm thankful for that opportunity. I definitely learned so much.
We get a few more watch hours, then he can start getting paid and go meet up with all these people to fish.
Yeah, help me get my watch hours, guys. For those of you that are watching now, jump on and watch when you finish out this video. Jump on and watch the video that I posted at 6 o'clock today. And
I was also really proud of that too.
Yeah, it was a good video.
I haven't seen it, but...
Yeah, it was a good video. Also, like my videos have gotten a little longer. Give me some feedback on if you think I've gotten a little too long on that. I just feel like as long as we're engaging, it seems to be okay that we go a little longer. But give me some feedback on your thoughts on that.
I was worried about that one where we skunked because I was like, how are you making a video out of this?
Did you watch it?
I have
Probably not.
Don't think I have watched that one yet.
See, she's talking to you guys out giving me watch hours and she giving them
I usually always watch. Actually, I did watch that one. I did go back and watch it and it wasn't bad. I always just get, I don't know.
Charlie said thumbnails are the hardest. Yeah, I struggle at thumbnails. That's why I'm blessed.
Canva.
Blessed with her. She's been making my thumbnails lately.
I didn't do it for the last video because I ran out of time. We've been really busy, but
I'll probably have her go back and create a couple thumbnails so I can run a test on that one.
Canva for sure is the easiest way to go with that. Because
and use the thumbnail tester. Use the thumbnail tester. Make a couple different thumbnails and run the test on them. See what works better for you. See, Wade Life said he likes doing thumbnails. Some people do. I'm not good at that. I've made a few over the years that were decent, but man, I think if my thumbnails were better on some of my older videos, they would have taken off a little better than what some of them did. So
two things. Canva, because there's already templates and you can just change the colors and the wording, and then you're done. Add your pictures, things like that. And I would also, I've seen some people, including, I'm trying to think of what's his name, the Fluke Master. When he was on Wendell's Live last night, him and Wendell were talking about using AI for thumbnails too. So don't forget that that's an option.
Yeah.
So
they just put it in Chat GPT and it populates a thumbnail. Actually, YouTube has a thumbnail creator right now too.
Canva also has something that you could use that for too.
If you go into the YouTube studio and go to inspiration, I think it is, you can type in like kayak fishing and it will pop up multiple different topics for a video for you to create. And it also makes a couple thumbnails. So you'll see a few different thumbnails along with topics. So it's definitely something that you can use.
We've not really used it, but I was just throwing that out there. If you don't like making thumbnails, it might be an option for you to try. But I don't know. I think thumbnails are somewhat important. I think what's more important is the title. I think which also could just be clicks too, to be honest. But I don't know. It's all a big game. You just got to get lucky sometimes. I don't know.
No, your videos have been great so far, Teresa. We've enjoyed them.
And you do have some incredibly talented daughters too, by the way. I love the pictures they took of you the other day. That's going to be great for your channel. And the drawing, that's incredible. Yeah. So cool.
Yeah. So definitely titles definitely matter. Trying to hit topics that aren't already hit or topics that are hit and covering them more thoroughly.
I've always, anytime you make it more controversial, then you get more clicks. You just, it's just how it goes.
Yeah. And like I said, you're going to get trolls here and there. Like Wendell says, don't feed the trolls. Every once in a while, I'll comment back just to try to fire somebody up, because ultimately when they start commenting, it's going to help out your content. People don't realize that the like button and the dislike button and negative comments still give you feedback for your channel. It still gives you interaction and ultimately doesn't hurt your channel. So go through and comment all the negative stuff you want. I'll take the credit for the comment and delete your comment and get you off my channel.
I don't even have the channel for posting videos, but I just posted some shorts to try to get subscribers to go live with him while we fish, because I just think it'd be fun. I like talking to you guys. The very first video I posted, I had a troll. He was like, or I don't know if it was a guy or girl, but they were like, why don't you just leave the fish alone instead of putting hooks through their mouth or something like that? And I was like, why don't you go?
Oh yeah.
It was something stupid, but
yeah, I've had that a ton. I've had so many people talk about when you touch a fish, like I did a short and I had one that flopped out of my hand and they were like, yeah, you're just killing all these fish. You're being so abusive to them. I mean, it is what it is. People are going to find a way to criticize what you do and try to make you feel bad about it. ultimately, if you're going to feel bad about it, don't post it on social media. Don't post it on YouTube.
Yeah, you got to know your limits, which I don't know how we got on all of this.
Yeah.
On this way off tournaments, but that's all right.
Yeah. Yeah. When I edit this down for podcasts, I'll delete a lot of this out and we'll just go ahead and have the tournament talk mostly in here. But this is good too. I like,
we don't mind going with the flow.
Engaging with you guys. And ultimately, most of the guys that are commenting here are guys and gals are content creators also. So getting your feedback through stuff is really important to me. And if there's any way I can help you guys, I'm there for you. I know I've had quite a few that message me and ask me for different things. If there is a way I can help you, I'll do it. And I have done it. You know, it's all about, I know Chad Hoover says it all the time. I try to say it, a rising tide lifts all boats. And it's true. If I'm going to do better by helping you guys out, it's well worth it. You guys are going to do better by giving me some feedback. It's going to be worth it.
Our next tournament is, I think Paul said earlier, I just know it's in April.
It's Easter weekend. Yeah. It's April 17th through the 21st. Yeah. So we're fishing bluegrass again. I don't know what other tournaments will fish through Grubby. I would kind of like to fish at least a couple others. I like that they're doing a Southwest Trail for the AOY and stuff like that. So it would be cool to try to get in on that, but I don't know that we'll be able to fish 3 other tournaments other than the bluegrass ones.
I was going to look at the bogs dates. We also have 4 kids, and so sometimes we can't just go out and do all the tournaments we want, but Fish Summit, where's that at?
I've got to look at where Summit is. No. Some lake. It's up north. I know it's up north. I mean, most things are north from us. But yeah, I'll look at how far that one is. I would definitely like to come up and join you, Tom.
Hi, Scott.
I know Kayla hasn't met you yet. I met you last year at the championship and had a great time talking to you. You know, again, I know All Right Nah Fishing said about the fishing community being awesome. So
we
the
do
White River, I would love to do the White River. Yeah, so All Right Now I was talking about the fishing community being awesome, and I'll say the kayak community is so awesome. Tom was a fellow competitor in the championship that I was fishing. Ran into him. He and I were actually both doing really good on day 1, and then both had a rough day 2. But a competitor, and we talked on the water, and then at the ceremony we talked quite a bit and made friends. I mean, how cool is it that somebody that's out there competing in this, you can make friends with them while you're on the water? Because ultimately, again, whoever wins, it's going to be a payout for the day and it's going to be a cool accolade. But what you're out there for isn't just that win. If you're going out to fish just to win, kudos to you. I hope that you win as many as you can. But ultimately, I'm going out there because I'm having a good time. I'm fishing tournaments because they're fun. If they weren't fun to me, I wouldn't fish them.
I would have not been out there if I didn't think it was fun to fish the tournament.
Yeah, it's not worth it. To me, if it's just 100% the competitiveness, it's not in it. It's not something that's for me. It's the camaraderie, and that is the whole reason why I started tournament fishing. I've said this several times over, but Greg Blanchard is the reason why I decided to fish tournaments. It was one of the reasons. He's the reason why I decided to fish for bass. I had no real desire to fish for bass. Was watching his tournament videos, and I was like, man, those are really cool. Looks like he has a lot of fun fishing those. And I was like, well, I guess I should probably try bass fishing because there are local tournaments around me.
So, we have done some month-longs, and we probably will. I did not sign up for it in March because the weather has been horrendous.
Yeah.
I probably
it would have been a horrible one. She would have had 2 fish, and I would have skunked for March because I don't know. I mean, I don't see any way we're going to get out anymore in March because I think Monday's the 31st.
Monday, yeah, unless we go Monday, but I don't know what the weather will be like. I probably will sign up for the May one because we don't have very many. We don't have a whole lot of plans at this moment. Lord, please let us stay that way. So we will do some month longs, but we're going to pick some months that we know we can be out there. I'm trying to think. I'm looking at bogs too, see if we can maybe do a few of those just to get a few more in. I don't know the dates. I haven't had a chance to look at them, so I need to do that. And Trevor asked if our kids are coming with us to St. Cloud, where we will be fishing the Kayak Adventure Series, and the answer is definitely not.
I would like them to come because I would like them to meet my friends that are there.
I would have to bring a babysitter.
But yeah, it just wouldn't be worth it.
A traveling babysitter that doesn't want to fish. So that's not going to happen. Also, it's kind of like it's kind of taking the place of our 15-year anniversary trip. So we're probably going to go up a day early or stay a day late or something and just hang out after the tournament. Maybe not. But we were going to do something else, but we decided that we wanted to do this. So
Tom said everyone he met at the Grubby Championship was all awesome. Same. I mean, I met a lot of people, some that I've been talking to for a while, and getting to meet them in person was really great. I know you and Paul Claspel chatted quite a bit, and Paul is such a great guy. He's a great friend. Really appreciate everything that he's done for me. He's been there for me over the last year, since meeting him at our Kayak Fishing Dads meetup that I put on. So it was a good time. Glad that you guys met up there.
Oh, I forgot
Paul's
you
a
were
great guy.
Yeah. Trevor said he was just checking to see if he could bring his. Yeah. That would be really, really cool. I just don't have anyone to watch them while we fish.
It would end up being a mess. We would be on the water and we'd be getting calls about somebody hurting somebody or
fighting. I don't know.
Some kind of crazy fight over nothing.
Trying to think. I feel like there was another one I missed.
Yeah, that's the thing. Paul's gonna be there. Paul likes to give off that vibe, and I hope I don't, give him a good rep or anything. But Paul likes to give off that vibe that he's out there to cause issues with people.
But Paul's he's really the nicest guy ever.
He's gonna be there for you anytime you need him, and he's gonna be there for you when you're having a bad morning on tournament morning and having electrical issues, and he's gonna take the time out of his day and out of his tournament to help you out.
Charlie said he's fishing his first in-person tournament of the year this weekend. Good luck.
Nice. Yeah. Good luck, man. Ours was again this past weekend. So wasn't a good one for us, but looking forward to the next ones. I do want to talk tournaments a little bit. What was you going to say?
This is about tournaments. Where'd it go? Somebody said something about wanting to do a couple tournaments this year, and I was going to tell them a great way, especially if you've never done it, is to get on kayak bass fishing, and which is only like $35 for that, and then there's a bunch of free. I thought it was you, but I couldn't find the comment. So kayak bass fishing, I think it's $35 for the membership.
Yeah,
and then. Is the regional free or $20? I can't remember if that one's free.
So sign up for the Catch 22.
Yeah, that one's only $22. It's a year-long one.
Catch 22. You sign up for that. It's a year-long tournament. It's your 22 biggest fish. It's a fun tournament and gets you familiar. Yeah, Chad Hoover. Yeah, so it gets you familiar with how to tournament fish, how to measure your fish. And if you sign up for any other KBF tournament, you can sign up for the regional. You can sign up for the state records, multiple different ones that he's putting on this year that are free. Missile baits that are free that you have a chance at winning things out of just for competing in them. So no reason not to sign up. Again, cost you nothing and get you more familiarity with, and Catch 22 is a great benefit for vets. Some of the money goes towards making veteran suicide awareness. Mm-hmm. So, that's a really touching thing for us.
And they also
we both have family that are veterans. Neither of us served, but we have a lot of family that are veterans. So I just heard a kid.
I know a kid song. Just a minute, please. Okay, I'll be down in a minute. Thank you.
Yeah. Tyler's Real Fishing puts on one that's free. I think I've seen that also.
Dad, I always get their names confused.
Dad Life. So check out Dad Life Fishing Adventures. Check them out here on YouTube and check him out on Facebook. He's putting on, for any fellow content creators, he's putting on a RLDL, so it's Reese Life Dad Life.
Thank you. I was trying to.
Yeah, he's putting on a free tournament that starts in April.
Yeah,
it's I think a week long, might be 2 weeks long. I'll have to look at the details again, but I'll be fishing that one. And any fellow content creators that want to get in on it, it's a free tournament. It's fun. You just send your pictures of your fish straight to him.
Yep.
And then he puts up the scores each day and kind of gives an update on it. And there's always some fun little giveaways at the end of it as well.
So,
yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. You can win money through tournament fishing.
I'm gonna win a forward-facing sonar this year somewhere, somehow.
All right.
I don't know who's giving one away.
And I'm gonna let you win it and learn it, because I just don't have the desire to put in the time to learn them.
I don't know. I don't know. That's actually what I really want. I just want something to show me I'm not fishing where there's literally no fish.
So another tournament tip for you guys. If you haven't fished a tournament yet, although I think most of the people in here have fished tournaments, I know Wade Life hasn't, take time to practice measuring fish.
Yep.
If you are thinking about tournament fishing, practice measuring fish. That's why, again, sign up for the Catch 22. It's a fun tournament. If you get a fish DQ'd because you didn't measure it right, it's not a real loss, versus being in a live tournament. When you measure a fish and have an issue, hurts a whole lot more. Always being aware that you've got the right identifier. Go through every tournament morning, make sure that your identifier matches up. If you can, get your identifier ready the night before. Have it on your board, ready to go. Still, morning of, go through and make sure your identifier is right. I've seen so many people get DQ'd from having the wrong identifier. Some tournaments are 2 days, and one day will be one identifier, next day will be the next one, and they'll have day 2 identifier on day 1, day 1 on day 2, and end up failing that.
It's hard. It's hard to measure in a kayak.
Yeah, measuring fish in a kayak can be tough, especially smallmouth. I'm going to say smallmouth are the hardest fish to measure on a board. The way their mouth closes, the largemouth, when you push them up against the board, their bottom jaw will kind of help hold their mouth closed. A smallmouth, when you push them up against the board, their bottom jaw just kind of pops open. And man, they are so hard to measure. I learned that fishing the Kayak Adventure Series last year because I've not measured smallmouth before. So work on measuring smallmouth if you're going to be fishing any rivers and creeks that have them in them. They are so hard to measure. Yeah, they get mad. They are full of energy.
Chase is... have you lost some off your board? What are you measuring?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I know he has an epic video that I think is actually pretty cool of him kicking one back into the boat.
That was during the championship last year.
Sorry, I was trying to remember.
So I ended up calling that fish out anyway, so it didn't matter in the long run. But it was still a great video. It was, I think, my 3rd or 4th fish at the time, so it was an important fish at that point. It flopped out of my kayak, fell over the edge, and I had my foot hanging off the edge of my kayak. My old kayak, to measure, I always hung my feet over the sides, and I kicked it. I seen it coming, and I just kicked that foot up, and I kicked it perfect. That fish flopped right back into the kayak.
Incredible.
And I was able to pick it back up and measure it and get the measurements on that fish. So yeah, being situationally aware, that's another good thing.
Yeah. I don't put your net up there, Paul, or something. I don't know. Duct tape.
Yeah, and I always try to put my net on the end of the board. I've not done that. That one I had my net on, and it actually flopped. Yeah, Chase the noodler. It actually flopped past my net and jumped over the side. I got some really awesome footage last year.
He did.
My buddy was like, "Man, how do you get so many crazy releases?" And I was like, I just record everything. If I'm in my kayak, it's normally rolling. Every once in a while, I'll forget to record, or I'll have batteries go dead, or have some kind of other issue. But 99% of the time, I'm recording if I'm on the water. And I got one release last year that when I put it in the water, it came up and did a tail walk and walked like 10 feet across the water. That was a great one. my big bass last year, that 20.5 that I caught at the championship, it stayed at the surface of the water for a little while and then did a good little splash there at the end. So I've gotten a lot of good releases. So there's Urban Fishing TV. That's my buddy Chris. So Chris,
Hi, Chris.
We were talking about you earlier and talking about going down to Florida and fishing with you. She is talking about being scared of gators and stuff. So I was like, yeah, we're going to go down there. She said if we go with someone who's familiar with the water, she would feel a whole lot safer. So I was like, yeah, well.
I didn't say that I would feel safer. I said I might actually do it. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not going to feel, I don't know. It makes me nervous.
But it would be so cool to come down and fish for some redfish or for snook and tarpon. Like, man, those have got to be some crazy fish. That video that, yeah, please do, he said. That video that Garrett Wade did where, he was hooking those tarpon and they were literally jumping into the kayak as they were jumping off of his hook, That'd be pretty wild.
We need to find a traveling babysitter that doesn't like to fish so that they can travel with us and watch all our children while we go fishing.
My dad said noodling, he wants in on this. So my dad has actually done that quite a few times. I've been out on the water with him a couple times, but I've never actually done it. But they've caught some fish doing it. So not something that I will do. I enjoyed being out there while they were catching fish, but not so much myself.
I'm trying to think of anything else that like really stuck out to me. That was like, I should definitely do that next tournament. And I can't think of anything. It wasn't a bad day at all. The wind sucked, but it wasn't a bad day. I would like I said, I would have probably trusted myself a little bit more and went with what I was more confident in doing. But I got nervous and I like having him by my side. So obviously it paid off because he got my lure tied back on.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a tip, really. Fishing something you're confident with in a tournament is always a good thing. I know I talked a few times about my tournament today where I fished several lures that I'm not confident in. If you fish something you're confident in, you fish it better and you have more chance of getting bit. That doesn't mean don't throw something that you're not 100% confident in, because I've had luck on that too. Sometimes you got to push yourself to make a change, but it's so much better if you can work on those items, like work on fishing new lures. Wendell always says his unconfidence lures, work on fishing new lures before a tournament.
Yep.
Try to build confidence in them, which, I'm slowly building confidence in multiple different lures, but I've still got a long way to go.
Yeah.
Mike, thanks for joining.
I did the opposite today, though. I fished one that I had no confidence in, had never even fished or really knew about. That's because I really felt like it was what would work this weekend.
I have a lot of confidence in their chatterbait, and I had no bites. So
I was gonna say it just happened to pay off for me. Maybe coincidence, but I don't know. I feel like I'm doing a whole lot better about putting more tools in my tool belt though, because I've caught one on the spinnerbait and the chatterbait over this month, which are both new lures for me. So,
and that's something that a tournament will definitely help you with. Also, sometimes it will help push you to make choices that you normally wouldn't do. Yeah, he needs to get his battery set up. Yeah, definitely. And make sure you have an empty SD card.
Is important.
Definitely important.
Especially for a full day.
Again, for the normal tournament angler, they don't need that. But for us that are into content creation, you're not making content if you're not recording. So make sure you're recording anything you do.
I would have loved to pre-fish this lure. It just did not happen. Truly, I don't know. Just didn't happen.
Yeah. Trusted your gut in the water, and that's a good thing.
I've been trying to listen. If I'm going to fish, I want to be at least halfway decent at it.
Yeah.
You know?
And what Charlie said, hey, what's up? So what Charlie said is he's found in a tournament, always think you're about to get a fish. It helps a lot. And that's very true. That's another tip I want to give. Also, do not let something going wrong make your day spiral.
Hey, here's what we can do. Look, because your dad said he'd love to catch a peacock bass. We'll plan our trip. We'll take them with us too.
Yep.
Your mom can stay back at the house.
I mean, mom can babysit, and we
we'll
all go down and catch some exotic fish and stuff. All right, but yeah, so for those of you that are gonna fish in a tournament, just like any other day, you're gonna have good days and you're gonna have bad days. You're gonna have things go wrong. Today, my rudder messing up. My rudder messing up was definitely discouraging. It definitely affected my day. Whether I would have caught fish with my rudder working perfectly or not, I can't say. But I did not stop myself from fishing just as hard as what I would have if my rudder was working. Now, I could have possibly fished some other water a little better with a working rudder, but I kept fishing. I know Tom Parr, he actually had a rough day on the water in his last tournament. And I can promise you, when you have a rough day, it is so easy to get down on yourself. I've lost fish off the board. Yeah, you leave life at the dock when you go fishing. I've lost fish off the board, and when they would have made a limit, and then ended up, because of I lost that first fish off the board, end up missing 5 other fish later on in the day that would have still filled that same limit because I got discouraged from that first one. Don't beat yourself up when you make a mistake. Continue pushing. Tell yourself, say, look, it's going to be okay. Continue pushing and continue fishing just like you were beforehand.
I definitely think positive attitudes do have a lot to do with that.
A big time. Big time.
It's funny because I know today, because when we first got out there, I was freezing because I truly didn't have enough layers, which I know most of you guys don't have a problem with that. Y'all are, I don't know, no coat dudes and just go out with whatever. But for me, it's a big deal. And I was like, ah. And it was morning. And I don't really like mornings either. So, and it's really funny because paddled over there to where I wanted to go, and I started just talking to the camera, and I can't wait. I don't know. I don't even know what I said. It's probably horrible. But I just started talking to the camera, and it was about that same time when my attitude picked up that I caught a fish. So okay,
yeah, I luckily don't
like
have the issue with getting cold very often. My toes were cold today. I know Tom said he had the same issue the other day. My toes were very cold. I wear shoes that the water can get in because they dry out pretty easily. But right at first, starting out the day with wet feet, those toes were cold. And normally when you start catching fish, it doesn't matter anymore. But unfortunately, we weren't catching fish. I've had some days out on the water that were super cold, and I never even noticed it because I was catching fish the whole time. You know, and then whenever you stop, you're like, oh, I can actually see my breath right now. It's pretty chilly out here. But yeah, today my toes were cold. Other than that, I was pretty good. I didn't really have any real issues.
Yeah. My tips would be bring snacks so you don't get hangry. Bring an extra layer, even if you don't know if you're going to need it, because being cold and miserable is not fun. And yeah, just go have fun. Learn.
Along the lines of an extra layer, it never hurts.
Just a minute, Isaac.
It never hurts to have a change of clothes just in case. Even for you guys that have never turned a kayak over, who know that there's no way you're going to turn a kayak over, bring a change of clothes because there is always definitely a possibility of something going wrong. Wear your PFD. I know we talked about most tournaments require that anyway, but there was multiple kayak anglers that lost their life over the last couple weeks. Mm-hmm. Now, one did have a PFD on. I don't know the whole story on that one. The other one had his PFD strapped to his seat, and his kayak was found partially submerged. I don't know what happened to the kayak. I know there were some stories going around that could have been hit by a boat, whatever it was. Had he had his PFD on, he may be still here today, and he left behind children. So remember that, especially if you got family. I mean, go out there and protect yourself. Mm-hmm. Even if you're practicing for a tournament and it's not required to wear it, wear your PFD. If you're out on the water, wear your PFD.
Oh boy.
It's so easy to turn it over. Just from one mistake can change everything.
Yeah, that was the other thing. My hands today When they got out, it was horrible. I guess I got windburn on my hands.
Yeah, the wind was brutal. Again, like she said earlier, our faces were chapped and everything from it. Yeah, Tom, it's a very, very sad story.
I've hated it. There was literally 2. I think it was within 2 weeks. Once again, don't know the stories. Don't know if it was accidents. Don't know if, if that guy got hit by a boat, then, who knows? It may not have mattered. But, I mean, I'd rather be safe than to leave my kids behind. So
yeah, I've talked to people personally who were running a kayak with a trolling motor, crashed into a stump. One of them actually came out of his kayak, hit his head on one of the logs that was sticking up, knocked himself unconscious, but because he had his PFD on, he was able to wake up and get back into his kayak and be okay. It's very important to wear your PFD, wear your safety gear. If you're going out early in mornings, have a light. If you're going to be out on big lakes, have a flag. It's something so easy to have. I'll have to hear the story on that one sometime.
Yeah, Paul. We want to hear all the details on that because we kind of think there's more to it than what you told
Paul
us.
said he wrecked into a stump on Saturday. So want to hear the story on that one. But yeah, so it's easy to do. I mean, it's easy to do. A lot of times, especially when the water's murky, you're not going to see all the submerged timber, and it's easy. He said, "Ask
we
Hunter."
did. That's why I said we want to hear it from you.
Oh, there's a good story behind that for those of you that know Paul.
We're not telling that one, though.
There's a good story behind that.
It's a family-friendly show. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I didn't eat breakfast today, and I wasn't planning on drinking a lot because it's a lot harder when you're a girl. So I was like, I'm going to try my best, but I'm definitely eating next time.
Yeah. When you end up in the cold water, especially. And a lot of people think, well, the water is 58, the water's 60 degrees. That's cold. Not that cold.
It's cold.
60-degree water is still very cold, and you lose function of your extremities very quickly in that kind of water. Having a plan for if you do go over, again, having change of clothes, it doesn't even hurt to have, especially if you're going to be somewhere where you're not going to have easy access to get back to a bank or get back to where you launched at. It doesn't hurt to have fire starting materials in your kayak in a dry bag, because if you turn over in somewhere that it's too cold, you may not be able to fully function on getting your kayak back to your vehicle. Pull over, get on a bank, start a little fire, get warmed up, and then get yourself ready to get back in the water. Now, that's something that if you're going to have that, you need to practice with that as well, because fire starting material does you no good if you can't start a fire with it. Just like any safety equipment, it does you no good if you don't know how to use it. For those of you that carry a knife on your kayak, have it somewhere you can reach it. I keep one on my PFD, and I normally keep one in my pocket. Have it somewhere you can reach it, because when you turn over and get tangled up in braided line, whether it's your braided line or somebody's braided line that's hung up on a stump, and you happen to hit that stump, flip out of it, got tangled up, and your kayak is no longer right there where you are, you have a knife on you, and you're able to pull it out and cut yourself loose. So having safety gear and knowing how to use it is really important, and making sure that you have it close is really important.
Also important, which some phones it won't matter, but to have your phone strapped to you.
Yes.
Flipped over, because then you'll still have it, hopefully. Like I said, some phones aren't exactly, I mean, they might just go, but I mean, some of them nowadays are pretty waterproof, and that way it stays on you and you can call for help too, instead of just having it out and about.
Josh said they had a diver checking the dock at the lake today, and he felt sorry for him. Yeah. It would have been cold out there today for sure, being in that water. Yeah, it's easy to get wrapped up in fishing line anywhere out there. All right, so I think we're probably about to close. Does anybody have any questions or feedback they want to give before we finish it out for the night? We've been going for a little over an hour and a half now. So
I think I was gonna say, because you were talking about the placements or whatever, you talked about the first. It put me in, I believe, 14th place with my 14 inches out of 24 anglers, and there was 2 below me that got fish and then everyone else hadn't.
Yeah.
2
knives and usually a gun. Yeah. You know, that can be brought up in another one, but yeah, it's never bad to have a firearm with you.
What was I gonna say?
Yeah, if you use a PFD that inflates, make sure that you have a fresh cartridge in it and have a fresh cartridge with you, especially if you're fishing tournaments. Most tournaments will not allow you. Where did I end up?
He must
I
have
ended
been
up
at the
in
beginning.
17th place. Wherever the first 0 was, that's where I'm at. I'm tied with all the zeros, Josh. Yeah, so if you have an extra one with you, you can always rearm your PFD.
That tournament was rough too. I think a lot of the tournaments this weekend in our area were rough. It looked like.
I mean, still,
I
mean, we say that there were some big fish caught out there. There were quite a few. There was the 120.5 that Mike caught, so he got big bass, and there were quite a few that were caught 18 inches and bigger. So there were a lot of good fish caught, but there weren't a lot of fish caught. Something else I'd actually written down stats for, or maybe I just looked at them. So last year's tournament in March, there were 73 fish caught, and this year's tournament in March, there were 57. So same amount of days, right about the same amount of anglers, and 15 more fish, 16 more fish caught last year than what were caught this year. So that shows again that there's been some bigs caught in the last week. And then, like I said, Sam caught one after lines out today. So
that was
another good fish.
Oh, it kind of suck, to be honest. I mean, it's still a good catch. It would kind of suck.
Yeah, he's fishing a month long, so hopefully it'll pay off for him there. But all right, guys, y'all have a good night. We've got some kids. We actually have extra kids tonight. So it's, again, we had some knocking on the door. They said somebody was fighting down there. But ultimately we have some extra kids tonight, and we made it through this whole live stream without really any interruptions. So definitely appreciate that, but appreciate you guys for sticking around.
Like it before you leave for us.
Yeah. If you haven't liked it yet, go ahead and give it a like, but thank you guys. Looking forward to more.